Hello and welcome to an all-new Marvel cast, Exposure Network's hub of all things Marvel. We're going to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers and Defenders to Lasher and Scream. I'm Ashley Hobb, the Explosion Network's resident parasite, and joining me today, Ultimate Kieran Marchant.
Yo, it's me, your boy, Eddie Brock. No, it's not.
No, you're Kieran Marchant, I just said.
Yeah, you did. You did, damn.
Also joining us, astonishing Dylan Blight.
What is the ding? I don't get it. Ding dong?
What?
Is that what you just said? Did you just say ding dong?
What?
Ding
No.
dong.
What?
I heard ding dong.
What? I said
did you
Eddie
say?
Brock. What? Are you okay? Damn.
Oh, was that the voice in my head?
Hey!
Oh, God. Oh,
All right.
No.
Today, we're talking about the 2018 film, Venom.
I'm a reporter. I follow people that do not want to be followed. What about the allegations that you recruit the most vulnerable for tests that end up killing people?
Your time to go.
Finished, Mr. Brock.
Was that a threat? You had to learn how to hide in plain sight. I'm pretty good at it. But you suck. Whoever you are.
I work at the Life Foundation, and I need your help. We found something. We call them symbiotes. Carlton Drake believes that the union between human and symbiote is the key to our evolution.
I'm feeling really sick. I'm hearing a voice.
Eddie.
You're not real. You were just in my head.
I'm gonna need Mr. Drake's property back.
I don't know. Why would we do that? If you're gonna stay, you will only hurt bad people.
The way I see it, we can do whatever we want. Do we have a deal?
Are you willing to sacrifice the one thing you hold most dear? You should be extremely afraid. What the hell are you?
We are Venom.
Directed by Ruben Fleischer, screenplay by Jeff Pinkner, Scott Rosenberg and Kelly Marcel, story by Jeff Pinkner and Scott Rosenberg, based on the characters from Marvel Comics, starring Tom Hardy, Michelle Williams, Riz Ahmed, Scott Haze, and Reid Scott. While trying to take down Carlton, the CEO of Life Foundation, Eddie, a journalist, investigates experiments of human trials. Unwittingly, he gets merged with a symbiotic alien with lethal abilities. Kieran, you're the one here who's watched this movie before. How'd you feel watching it again?
Yeah, somehow, we were talking about this for the show. This came out 2018 October when we were all at PAX. And I'd already seen it, I think, and then Ashley and me decided to go to A Star Is Born instead of this.
Smart choice.
Fuck, you made a decision.
Yeah.
Was this out when was that PAX? Holy shit, I can't even remember. My care factor was so low then. I didn't even...
I really dislike this movie. Then I think there's some parts of this movie that maybe were a little bit better than I remembered now, but I still have a lot of issues with the general writing of this movie, the pacing, and I just find Eddie Brock just super unlikable. Like, I just think, I don't know, I just don't... Most of the setup at the start is is setting up Eddie Brock, and it's like, he's just really a selfish dude. Like, he's just 100% only really gives a fuck about himself, is one of these reporters that is supposed to be framed as somebody who fights for the people, but really it only seems like he does it because it makes a name for himself, and he enjoys doing that, and, like, you know, tearing things down and having that power. And then there's no change around in that character at all through this. And then, you know, all of a sudden towards the end of the movie, Venom's like, Eddie, I'm staying because of you. And it's like, what? Why? Where the fuck did this change happen? What just happened?
I love you.
Like, yeah, it's just, it's just such a... there's such a change in this movie that feels like a massive chunk of it got ripped out. That I just really...
It's still like 2 hours, 15 minutes or something.
No, it's only an hour and 50.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. It feels like it goes for ages, but it's only an hour 52 or something. And it just feels like a whole bunch got ripped out of this movie that just makes it make it like very little to no sense. I feel like the time skip in this where it jumps 6 months is fucking pointless, and it serves for like no purpose in this movie, other than kind of having Eddie, separate and go through his beats and be completely at rock bottom by the time the time skip happens. But then it's also like, wait, you're telling me that the symbiote riot took 6 months to get from wherever he was back to San Francisco, and then also on top of that, this movie just doesn't give a fuck for the rules that it puts in place and sets up. It kind of very early on tries to set up the fact of the symbiotes will only bond with somebody that is appropriate, but at the same time it's showing you Riot bond with a whole range of different people and fucking not seeming to be any problems there or having any issues, and then other ones...
Well, he takes control of them, whereas I think they're saying where with Eddie they can they dual control the body or whatever.
And like Riot's like picking and choosing who he's going to take. It's going to take.
I don't know. So. I guess so. It just... I feel like there's just very little common threads of what it is, and going through it is my only thing for me. But I'm interested in what you both think with this movie, and kind of with it both being the first time you're watching as well, prior to There Be Carnage coming up.
Dylan, what did you think of Venom?
Oh, this movie is terrible. I feel like it starts at like maybe a 6, and then it just goes down from there. Like when it started, I was like, yeah, I feel the sort of cheesy vibe or whatever, but I was like, maybe it's okay. And I was like sort of into it for maybe the first, like up until the time skip, I guess. Like I was sort of like, yeah, this seems all right. Like it's not great or whatever, but I was like, interesting sci-fi opening, and I didn't mind all that. And then the introduction of the bad guy, I was like, don't care for him, but whatever. And then, but I was like, I'm sort of into this relationship, and the scene where he's like driving the bike around and intercuts all that journalist stuff. I'm like, yeah, and like all that sort of stuff. And then I think it just goes downhill from there up until the last. I'll go completely honest. I think about halfway through the movie, I started getting really bored. I hit a point where I was really bored. And then as I was approaching the end, I like hit the timer, and I was like, there's half an hour left. Oh, Lord. I was like, how'd he help me? So I ended up playing my Switch through the last half an hour at the same time I was watching it. So I wasn't giving it my full attention, but I don't think it deserved it by that point, because I was ready to turn it off if I didn't have to watch it for this. It's just utter nonsense. That said, I will say that I'm like, I'm like, it starts at a 6 maybe, and it goes down, but I'm like, maybe the sequel could drop to maybe even a solid 5 out of 10. Like, cause this, I don't know, I'd give this like fucking, I don't know, it's like a fucking 3 or something. Eddie's just like, he starts sort of interesting, and I don't mind that he does that terrible thing, cause like, you can still do a character arc around him regretting that and whatever else. It's just the movie completely fails to do that. Like the only time they ever do anything with it is when Venom tells him to apologize, and he does this like half-assed forced apology that doesn't really matter or do anything.
Nothing. His motivation through the movie is never anything about being better or regret or anything like that. His motivation is so fucking selfish. It's just the fact of, oh, I'm going to go into this lab because I want revenge on this guy because I'm blaming him for everything bad that's happened to me.
The other thing, so there's that scene where the homeless lady, like out the front, she disappears or whatever, and as he's walking past, he grabs a paper and they're in there, and then they show the shot where she's not sitting there, and in my head I'm like, oh yeah, this is the reason. Like he knows her, and then he'll get told that they're taking in homeless people or whatever, and experimenting on him, and she's going to be the kicker. But in reality, there's nothing to do with her. Like he never has that moment. He's just like, oh yeah, this dude's an asshole. I guess I hope and take down. But I thought even if they'd taken that arc, it would have been a bit more like righteous. I guess he's like, oh no, she was my friend or whatever and whatever. Like I know they have a like she's there and he tries to save her, but they didn't really have that big moment where he's like, that's the reason I'm doing this. So yeah. And then once Venom comes in, I also don't think the special effects look that great. I know it's only a couple of years old, but I found a lot of it to look very plasticky, weirdly. So yeah.
Yeah, I think this is just pretty mediocre. I don't care enough about it for it to be bad, I guess is the thing. I think
that makes it bad, Ashley.
Okay.
If you don't care, it makes it bad.
No, that is a good point.
I think obviously like the final third of the movie is like pretty atrocious. It's pretty but there's like certain elements I like. I like the Venom Eddie relationship kind of, even though like you said, it's kind of Venom like it's interesting like reading through the Wikipedia page and how there's like the Simbrock ship that was going around, Where
does it come from? Like you go from 1 minute where like
they have that one scene where they're kissing.
It's just I don't know. It just makes no sense.
I didn't mind Eddie. I don't think sure there's an element of selfishness, but if one person fucks you over,
it's like his entire character. And it's not even the one person that fucks him over. His shitty thing he did is before that, where he jumps into his partner's laptop and takes information and then uses that information with no way of like covering for her or like having a second thought of how badly that was going to go.
But he was performing human tests on people. So,
okay, but
does the ends justify the means?
No. But if he actually gave a fuck about him performing human tests, Eddie Brock wouldn't have just given up on what was going on.
But that's fair enough.
Like if the whole if his driving motivation at all had been I'm a good person trying to help these people, you didn't need the 6-month jump. You just needed him down on his luck, everything's going shit, to be pushing.
Well, maybe he couldn't.
Stuff.
Maybe, you could have maybe shown part of the 6 months him trying to, and then, still, like, no one accepting his help at all, so. And they made sure they have that great opening where he's, like, covering all these really important issues, So he's definitely a good guy.
No! He's not a good guy! Because they quickly changed that, and they're like, no. He's doing those things, but he doesn't give a fuck about why he's doing those. He's doing those because he's good at it, he likes the fame he gets off it, and he's just a bit, like, he likes tearing.
He's unemployed, down. And he gives that homeless lady $20 for giving him a free paper. If that's not a nice person, I don't know who it is.
That is like the
most stereotypical, like, how do we make this person seem nice movie act you can do is give a homeless person something.
Like, it is just the only... It's just, it's... Like, even the section where Eddie legit, like, hides in the back of the store while somebody else is, like, being held at gunpoint is, like...
What would you do?
Yeah, no, what are you doing, Mr. Superhero?
No. It's not about me, the superhero, because it's not about building...
What about you, Mr. Nice Guy?
No. It's not about...
Ask them politely.
That's a shit thing. I would do the same, but he's not supposed to be like me.
I was gonna say, I'm backing up this one where he's just a reporter. Like he hasn't got venom in him at that point.
I mean, he does the right thing later, so
yeah, he eats someone. That's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just the Riz Ahmed, he's trying his best, but actually, I don't know if he's trying his best. He might be slightly phoning it in. Everything with Riot towards the end is like kind of, not good. I think Michelle Williams is solid.
Why the fuck is she in this movie for a start? Like she's
Paycheck.
Yeah, I guess.
And I think I think what they could have done better is if they had have just leaned completely into like a horror vibe. They're trying to make a superhero movie.
No, but this is their attempt at trying to make a superhero movie without Spider-Man.
Yeah, but they could have done the superhero movie, but make it horror-ish. You know,
They weren't going to do that. Sony wanted to fucking... Sony had a
they
chip
wanted
on
to
their
make
shoulder.
something as bombastic as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a chip on their shoulder. They're like, oh, everybody's saying that, you know, MCU and Marvel's doing a better job with Spider-Man. We can do something better with Venom. Even though there's no connection to Spider-Man, so kind of...
Do you think that's a fair criticism? That obviously apparently all the reviews are like, there should have been more connections to Spider-Man. Why isn't there more connections to Spider-Man?
The only thing I thought was weird, and I never thought about this until I actually watched this, and like I got to stare at Venom for a prolonged period of time, is that by some point my mind went, oh, he doesn't have the white spider symbol. That's what it is. I was like, what is the go? Like my mind was like, what is with this Venom design that's off? And it's the white center thing. It's like such a key thing. Other than that, I don't feel like there's a necessary reason to have Spider-Man involved in this. I do think there is a necessary reason to up the violence. Because it's literally a monster eating people, like chomping people's heads off.
Barely any blood.
Yeah, there's like no blood. They try to make it scary and whatever for the PG-13 rating. And I mean, the second film's still rated the same, so it's not going to be much better. And you can tell by the trailers for that, they're still trying to achieve this, like, let's make it scary and horror vibe without actually making it scary and doing a horror vibe, because we can't actually do blood and violence or anything like that. So I think that's the number one thing that sort of lets the movie down, is just the lack of committing to it.
I guess let's do building the Venomverse? I don't know. Is it I don't know what we're calling this connected universe. Obviously, we've got Morbius that's going to come in and be part of it.
Apparently. Yeah. No, Morbius. Is it Mobius or Morbius?
Morbius.
I've actually forgot.
I'm pretty sure.
Morbius? It's got an R, doesn't it?
Mobius.
I don't actually
Mobius?
remember. I don't know this character. I don't know. Anyway, the vampire thing with Jared Leto. He watched that trailer and then everyone points out all the three universe connections. It's like, it's connected to Venom, it's connected to Raimi, it's connected to Spider-Man. I'm like, I know what the fuck's going on between these movies.
They couldn't even mention the Daily Bugle. They changed it to some shitty name that was like the Daily News or Daily Times or something.
I think they mentioned the Bugle in this.
Oh, yeah, no, it's in America. It's in New York, I was going to say.
Yeah,
because they mention Bugle in this? Because they say he got fired or something, don't they?
No. They say he got fired. He got run out of New York, and he's like, I've still got connections with the Daily News or Daily like something, but it isn't Daily Bugle.
You know,
I thought it was.
He got done for doctoring photos. That's the problem. All right, so we've got Eddie Brock, obviously played by Tom Hardy.
If I read that story a couple years back, I remember reading the reason he did this movie is for his kid. I understand that. I really like Tom Hardy. He's probably one of my favorite actors at the moment. However, no.
Okay, yeah. So, Venom first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man 299, April 1988, created by David Michelin and Todd McFarlane.
I remember coming out of this movie the first time and be like, how the fuck did they make Tom Hardy this unlikable? Like, at the time, everything he was in was just...
You've never watched The Revenant.
Well, true. But not even like...
You weren't on the set of Mad Max.
Well, but I guess the thing is, I guess, because they want him to be likable, right? They keep almost doing these...
No, he's an anti-hero.
He's an anti-hero, so you kind of want him to be a dick.
Venom's an anti-hero, but I wouldn't say Eddie Brock's an anti-hero.
Yeah, isn't he supposed to be like...
In the comics, he was always an antagonist to Peter Parker, so... Or rival, so...
But I guess the thing is, I guess he still wants to... The thing that I feel like this movie tries to set him up is like, he still wants to do good or is trying to do something good. It's just the fact of him balancing out Venom, who's trying to fucking eat everything. And that being the balancing point of why Venom kind of comes around. And it just doesn't come across like that. Like, it just doesn't... He's not that person.
I think he's fine, you know. And clearly he liked it enough to do the second one, and I think with a lot of input and that kind of stuff. So
I just figured out how to solve this movie, by the way. I just clicked onto something amazing. Right? You ready for this? Riz Ahmed, which we'll get to, I'm sure in a minute. But Riz Ahmed is in a little movie called Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler sounds something like what you could call Venom if like other people saw him in the middle of the night. Nightcrawler is a movie about a reporter who's a bit of a dick and he's an asshole. So you basically replace Jake Gyllenhaal with Tom Hardy, and you make that character Eddie Brock, and then you basically just do the entire plot of Nightcrawler, but at some stage he gets infected with Venom, and you still have Riz Ahmed in it. However, he turns into him at some point, and they have like a CGI battle at the end, so then it's a Marvel movie, because that's all you need it to make it a Marvel movie. Otherwise, you leave
CGI battle.
Otherwise, you leave the rest of the movie the same. You make Renee Russo his girlfriend. Done. And that movie's like MA, so you can have the violence. I solved it. I just figured it out. Why didn't I do
now,
this?
Sony, let's retroactively remake Venom from 2018.
You're remaking Nightcrawler and Venom into one movie.
I don't know what the legalities of that are, but let's make it happen.
Do people really want to like change Nightcrawler though? Isn't like Nightcrawler kind of beloved and really enjoyed by people, even though it's darker?
Yeah, I don't actually want to change that movie at all. I just randomly had a brain farm like where I was like, Riz Ahmed's in that movie, so that's a meme.
Yeah. As long as they can get Alan Cummings to come back.
Yeah.
No.
CGI.
Has to be practical.
X-Men are coming back.
Oh no.
Next up, Michelle Williams is Anne Wang, who debuted in The Amazing Spider-Man 375 March 1993, created by Dave Michelin and Mark Bagley. Michelle Williams, like, doing her thing. She's trying her best to cope with Eddie Brock, who's like the crazy ex-boyfriend at this point for most of the film.
Can I say, right? Why is she privy to all of Eddie's medical information and records? Like, why is she the one calling him to tell him he has a parasite? Like, I get it that there is, like, her boyfriend is the one looking after him, yada yada yada, but at the same time, I'm like, why? What why is this, why is she calling him? Why isn't the doctor calling him? It's,
the characters,
nitpick, but
characters like whatever. I would say Michelle Williams is the best actor in the movie, though. So got that going, I guess. Like best performance in the movie. She's trying.
Yeah, she's doing the best. We've got Riz Ahmed as Carlton Drake / Riot. So Riot debuted in Venom: Lethal Protector #4, May 1993, created by David Michelin and Ron Lim. I didn't mind like the Riot trying to make its way from. So he's in Malaysia to start off with. That's where they originally crashed the thing. So 6 months to try and figure out on a new world to try and figure out how to get to San Francisco. I mean, that's
And cops never track down this person or like it's killing people across the country.
The whole situation with the just there's a lot of oversights in things that would have happened, like Eddie Brock making his way into the Life Foundation complex and not a single camera seeing him or like showing him and the doctor together. Just there's a lot of things to overlook in this movie that make no sense.
I cannot believe that Riz Ahmed, mere years before he would win and star in a movie that ExplosionNetwork.com crowned as movie picture of the year, he would do this thing where he's very terrible. Well, not terrible. Very mediocre. Maybe he got directed that way. But no, I did not enjoy him. I didn't enjoy the character and I did not enjoy him. Okay. He's a good actor. Not in this.
And then I guess the only other person to mention is we get
the Gullet.
Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassaday, a serial killer in the comic books. First appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man 361, April 1992, created by David Michelin and Mark Bagley. Clearly setting up the sequel. Woody Harrelson could get there.
Yeah, he is, and he's like definitely one of the.
Although you have to wonder, was he just doing a favor to Ruben Fleischer who's obviously directed him in Zombieland and stuff? So
yeah, I would assume that like they're friends or whatever. But he's like the one reason I was sort of interested in the sequel was as soon as I read all the spoilers about because I knew. Like I did, because I didn't care about the movie. Whenever all the articles were coming out years ago, like, oh, who's in the after credit scene? I was like, yeah, who is? tell me. So, and I remember everyone like joking, saying, "Oh, the wig's bad." I'm like, "Yeah, it is pretty bad, eh?" Like it's an interesting choice. So I'm glad they've toned that down for the sequel or whatever. But yeah, short scene with him, and I'm keen to watch him in whatever the second one's called.
Let there be carnage. Exactly
Yeah.
what he says, or something along the lines of what he says at the end of
There
this.
will be carnage.
Where it was like, dude, that's pretty heavy-handed, I guess. Okay, sure thing.
And then in the trailer for I think he says it in the trailer, which
He
I've
says
seen
it in
like
the
10
trailer
billion
as well.
times at this point. All I've ever wanted in this world is carnage. He's a serial killer. Like he sounds like he's a really fucked up serial killer. So I think I'm getting into critiques for a movie I haven't seen yet. But how do you have Woody Harrelson play a fucked up serial killer, and like a movie where people are eating and chopping people's heads off and whatever, and you still don't have at least an M rating?
You don't have an
know
M
about
rating, and it's going to take an hour and a half total runtime.
Don't know about that. Cheap.
Like it's questionable, right?
Absolutely. Stanley's hiding for this week.
Yeah, what the fuck? I was not expecting that.
Lee makes a cameo appearance as a man walking his dog. Lee inexplicably overhears the symbiote and Eddie Brock's discussion and encourages the two to keep Brock's relationship with Anne Wang alive and thriving. His dog interests and hungers Venom, whilst the symbiote asks, "Who is this guy?" This is technically the last cameo Lee made, released before his death. So,
Was it?
yeah.
Wow.
Into the Spider-Verse was after this point, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But that's after his death as well.
Damn.
So that's been your
I
Stanley
thought-
exciting for this week.
I'm so sorry, Stanley. You deserve
Ciaran.
so much better.
Ciaran,
hmm
what's the most marvelous moment of Venom?
Probably the motorcycle sequence. I think some of the stuff they do with that's pretty cool. It's an interesting kind of introduction and build up. Yes, I have my problems with why are these guys are just like flat out trying to kill him, but it makes kind of no sense why they're flat out trying to kill him. It's a solid action sequence, I guess, that you have to kind of expect from this kind of movie in Sony at this point.
Dylan, what's the most marvelous moment of Venom?
I abstain.
I abstain.
Come on, there's got to be something. There's got to be a high point.
The credits? Fuck, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Just
the
the opening sequence where he crashes.
The opening sequence, or I didn't mind the first time those dudes come into his house and like Venom like takes them all out and he's like arguing with himself, and then that arsehole who lives across from him like freaks out. That was pretty funny. Let's go with that. All right, lock that in.
Okay.
That one.
My
So the
most
start before the motorcycle, just prior. Yeah.
Just prior.
cool. And my most marvelous moment is the Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse clips that they showed tacked onto the very end of the credits.
That's
Is that a thing? I
No,
did
no,
not say
that
that
was
one.
no.
Yeah.
So that was part of the reason I went to watch Venom now, was because that was at the end of the movie.
I did not know this.
And if you watch it on Netflix, I watched the film back on Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix. It's still there.
It's still there.
Wow.
So that's why all the credits play during the film.
I watched the after credits scene and then I flicked it off. So it's like all the way at the end or what?
All the way at the end.
all the way at the end. There's like the it's the sequence where Miles meets Peter B. Parker for the first time, and the whole swinging through New York with the unconscious
Body.
Peter body, and just finishes off with a thanks New York as them lying on the floor of the street. Yeah,
You know that movie's darker than this movie.
damn straight it is. People die at least in that movie, right?
People die in this movie.
Did they?
Yeah,
I mean, my other high point will be him eating the dude at the end. You know,
Which dude?
the bank.
Oh, the bad guy, the robber.
convenience store robber. Yeah.
You know
Dude who
what's-
thinks he's fucking Al Capone over here having.
I mean, not the line that he says, but just the act. You know.
But like the
Actually,
crazy
the
thing
guy.
was, I don't know if you guys remember, the trailers leading up to this had
They
that
showed that
scene.
scene so many times.
That scene was like the center point of that trailer, and it's the end of your movie. What the fuck?
Well, that's
Like
no
a
different than
turd
talking
in the
about
wind.
Amazing. So they were talking about Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I said the Brino sequence was a big part of the trailers, and that's literally
Yeah,
at the
that's
end of
fair.
the movie.
That's
So
fair.
Sony was on a string of this being a a thing, apparently.
I'm sure that this isn't an uncommon thing. I'm sure, like, the Spider-Man swinging onto the whatever building he has with the American flag was probably used in the trailers from the first
Yeah,
film
I
and
don't,
that kind of stuff. So.
I don't think it matters. Like, it's not like a big spoiler scene. It doesn't really matter.
No.
It's just...
Yeah. That lady, she did not freak out when she...
That's because it's Eddie.
It's Eddie.
Eddie.
We are Venom. Alright. Anything else you guys want to talk about from this film?
No.
Man. The people of this movie hit a certain spot and then they're like, holy fuck, we just need to finish this as quick as possible. Boss fight, we're having this CGI fight. We're just going to blow him up in 2 seconds after the hero gets his stuff shit together and comes back. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Movie bad. Writers.
Are we looking forward to Let There Be Carnage?
So here's actually a question. So Venom, when he takes over the whatever, what's her name? The girl character? Anne. When he takes over Anne, why does she have boobs?
She has boobs.
Because it fits to her form.
It's probably a homage to She-Venom, which is a character in the comics. More than anything else, yeah.
Because I was like, they portray Venom like it's, you know, like it's like almost you're inside. Like Eddie looks like he's inside a suit almost,
it's
or whatever.
The problem, the biggest problem, it's kind of like the biggest problem with the fact that Spider-Man doesn't exist in this universe, because Spider-Man is kind of the reason that Venom took on the shape of a suit. Was because the first time in the comic books, like the main time Venom has...
That's what I was saying. He doesn't have the logo because he never...
Yeah, he never had the logo.
was
But also at the
Spider-Suit
same
first.
time, Venom became what was a suit because of Spider-Man. And so that's kind of carries on and goes forward with it, but it just makes little to no sense without that.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a She-Venom. I was thinking when she walked on. I was like, what?
There's a lot of symbiotes.
Okay.
Like
they've Red Lanterns over here.
Also, everybody remember that Sony got internet trolled into changing how their entire pronunciation for symbiotes in this movie just from the trailer.
Symbiotes?
Because the trailer was released and every character said symbiote and the fucking internet flipped its shit.
Symbiote. Why would you say symbiote?
Well, nobody knows. But that is
because they go both ways.
Oh my! Okay, all right. No,
Yeah. Progressive.
no, I don't think those of the those bisexual people really want to be connected with these types of aliens. So want to kill the whole world.
Most all of them. All
Yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Let us know your thoughts, bisexual and not bisexual people, on Venom. By going to explosionnetwork.com/Twitter or jump into your Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at All New Marvelcast, let people know about the show or leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser or anywhere else reviews can be written. And if you like this episode, thought it was worth it all, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosionnetwork.com/support. So we will be doing a spoiler review discussion for Let There Be Carnage. I should have a review up sometime this weekend after the day of release. So, be sure to watch that and join us next time for another all-new Marvelcast.